All right, we are here for our virtual workshop on women's issues. I am Tangela Morris, your licensed professional counselor.
And I am Tiffany DeWalt, your certified Christian life coach. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome. We have a slew. I don't know why that word came to mind, slew. I never use that word, but we have special guests today joining us for our workshop, and we're really excited about the topic on women's issues. Now, if you are not a woman, feel free to still listen in. Doesn't mean that you cannot get some knowledge and understanding and expertise on women and issues. So today we're going to be talking about 3 specific areas, which is our minds, our bodies, and woman to woman. All right, so we're going to start with our introduction of our panel guests. We're going to do a little icebreaker. We're going to do a virtual prize question where you'll be able to respond in the chat. Then we'll get into our discussion. And once we wrap up, we'll recommend some books and media that will help you along your journey. We'll also do a second virtual prize. So stay around for the second virtual prize if you didn't win the first one. And then we'll do our wrap up. Okay, so Tiffany, do you want to tell them a little bit about Certified Christian Life Coaching very briefly?
Certified Christian Life Coaching is just what it sounds like. I am certified, I am a Christian, and I am a life coach. That's the short of it. But with Christian life coaching, the difference is that we use biblical terminology, we use biblical advice, and we use scripture. And because, ultimately God has, answers. He told us that if we seek, we shall find, if we knock, that he will answer, and all of those great things. So with Christian life coaching, I myself, just in the journey of life as a massage therapist, talking with my clients and things, noticed that people would come just so that they can talk and have a massage. And I noticed that sometimes people come in with stresses that I can help them with, but they can leave and they can get in their car, get a text message or a phone call or just anything that would just take them all the way back to what caused them to have to come to me in the first place. And so I thought, what if I just combine the two? And with my Christian background, I think that, like I said, God has given us a lot of answers to life. So I just combined it all together. And so I actually call myself a wholeness coach. So I use wholeness, which is the 7 elements of wholeness, and just to make a person whole again. That's it.
Okay, good. And of course, like I said earlier, I'm a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Georgia, providing mental health counseling for adults. And so if you ask me what area I work in, I can provide support in a variety of areas. It's on our website, irepresentlife.com. But specific to our topic, women's issues, I do work a lot with women and dealing with just things that are inclusive of, a woman and just some of the things that they go through. So, and then we have our panel guests. We have Miss Justina. Miss Justina, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. It is so very good to be with you ladies today. The topic is something I feel like it's so needed. And I appreciate being on the panel today. Look forward to getting into it.
Thank you. Miss Justina is the director over SummerHill Ministries out in the city of Atlanta. And then we have Lady Tiki. You want to say hi? She's smiling.
We got you on mute there.
Uh-oh, maybe she's got 1 minute. Lady Tiki is a co-minister with her husband over at Grace Life Connection Center, and she's also a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Georgia.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be with you ladies tonight, and gentlemen, if you're tuning in. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the panel.
And the one other thing, she sings too. Lady Tiki
Oh,
has a
yeah.
lovely voice. So yes. And then we have Miss Adria.
Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here right now, be amongst all of these phenomenal women. First and foremost, I'm a woman of God. I'm also a creative. I'm a singer, model, actress. I'm an artist. I make resin art, luxury home decor, and pieces like this. So I'm just really excited to be here and to get into this topic.
Yes. And Adria represents for our younger generation. Our generation that's in their 20s. So thank you for coming and
They call them
representing
Gen Z. I call them Generation Next.
Generation Next. So thank you for
Mhm.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
And then we have Adria's mother with us, Miss Christina. You want to say hi?
I know
I don't
on
know if
my
she may or
screen,
may
she's
not hear.
frozen and on mute.
Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Well, looks like she has a few technical difficulties, but when she comes back, maybe she'll introduce herself. And then we also have Miss Laura, also known as L All Day. I like that. L All Day.
You know, L all day stands for God all day, laugh all day, love all day. That's what L
Yes.
right.
I love that. I love
Yes.
that. Miss
Yeah,
L
so-
is a licensed cosmetologist and instructor. She said for over 40 years. So
Yes,
All right
man.
now.
she been in the game for a long time. So
Long.
yes, and she also does stand-up comedy, and she serves her church over there in Stone Mountain Fishers of Men.
Yes, I'm a minister. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you and minister. Okay.
Yes,
Minister L all day.
yes.
Okay. So we're gonna run right into our icebreaker. And if ladies, you each can answer this question very briefly. Give yourself 60 seconds or less if you can. The question is, why do you value yourself as a woman?
Wow.
Who wants to go first?
I can start. I value myself as a woman because God created me. Also because I worked hard to learn my value and to show myself that I deserve to not only value myself, but to understand that I need other people to value me as well, that I'm going to have in my life. So really, number one, God. That's why I value myself.
Good.
Okay. Good one.
Good answer. I value myself because God values me. He made me a nurturer and a mother to many, even those I didn't give birth to. He showed me how to love, to give love, show love, and receive love. So I value myself as a woman because I can give, because I can be there for the next young lady or for the next generation that's coming up. That's one thing we missing in this world. Big Mama's gone, and I have taken Big Mama's place.
Very
All right.
nice. Very nice. Who we got next?
Well, I'll go ahead and go. I value myself because I feel like God created me not just for me, but for other women, for me to help heal, to bring healing and restoration and help other women reach to their full potential. It's a lot of times we don't know who we are until we connect with people that know who they are and we can help pull them up. So I am a firm believer on self-care, and that's for men or but I'm a firm believer on self-care. So what you pour out, you got to make sure you're pouring back into yourself. So that's why I value me, because I know now how to pour back into me.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Self-care. We're going to learn a little bit later, hopefully, some things that you would recommend for self-care.
I value myself because, as many of the women have already said, we're created in the image of God, and He has shown us through His word how valuable we are to Him. A lot of our role models may teach us otherwise, to devalue ourselves, women, but then we have to go back to the truth, to the real truth of knowing who we are in God and our value in Him. And because I've known that, I've read it, I've learned it, I realize it, how I speak, how I look, how I carry myself, it all matters.
1 second, we're getting a
And
little
so I
feedback.
appreciate.
That's me coming in. I'm trying to figure out how to mute. Give me a second.
Try
Okay,
muting the
that worked.
phone that you're on. And okay, we good. Okay, what was the last part you said, Ms. Justina?
Well, I found out through the word of God is so important, how I speak as a woman, how I look as a woman, how I present myself, how I dress, how I show up as a woman. And the world cannot really teach you that. Only the word of God teaches us how to value ourselves as a woman. So I appreciate the word of God.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, yes, that is true. That is true. I think there's some wisdom in the word of God for women. The word of God a lot of times speaks in masculine form from our understanding, like it'll say he or him. So sometimes we have to interpret it to apply to us, but there are definitely also scripture that speaks exactly to a woman. And then there's women in the Bible who are just so powerful that we can easily miss them if we're not careful, but I think there's a lot of great people in scripture that represent women very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
value
then,
myself. Hey.
hey, just want to make sure you there. I know you had a little hiccup. Yeah.
Yes. I value myself as a woman because God has made me resilient. Oftentimes as women, we find ourselves in situations or circumstances where we have to recreate our norms and to come out of situations and circumstances to make a new life sometimes even for ourselves. And so through those hard times and through those situations, God has shown over and over again how powerful, how resilient, how creative we are, how much love we possess, and just the power to create that we have. And that, I believe, even as we read the Bible and it says he, or may not say she, we know that God is referring to us as well, as he made Eve from the rib of Adam. There was no separation of the two, right? So I received those words that he's spoken and appreciate the resilience that he gives us.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was good. All of you guys had some really good responses. And I love the fact that you guys didn't even hesitate to understand the fact that you actually do value yourself. So it didn't say, do you value yourself as a woman? It said, why do you? And everybody was able to respond with something. And so that tells us that you value yourself as a woman, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Is it my turn?
Sure.
Okay, so I would say that I concur with each of the ladies, but I'd like to add that I value myself as a woman because I am able to partner with God in creating human life, being a portal to bring his children into the world, this the creation. And I know there's a lot going on right now where people don't value that. They're fighting for rights to devalue life. And so I would say that I value being able to create life. I've been able to bring two into the world, two wonderful humans that, I had a chance to know from the womb just as he did, and have a chance to watch them grow into the, humans that he's created them and designed them to be. It's an honor to be able to get to watch them grow into the people that he's going to have them become in the future. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think womanhood has so many layers to it in a very delicate yet intricate way. Women have certain levels of strength that, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, that a man just naturally wouldn't have. But they also have levels of love that they can give and show. I think the true natural woman that finds value in herself has levels of confidence that does not have to even be spoken about. Other people see it or feel it when she's in their atmosphere. And so we all, like I said earlier, have something to value as a woman, or some things.
I would like to add that that's why you ladies are on here with us, because there was a value that we saw in you. You know, you never know what people see, you know, and what people are looking at, what they're thinking about, what they have going on, and how he is, you know, predestined all of this. You know, Tangi and I have life on purpose, and I know you don't hear as much about that over Ladies in Full Effect, you know, but you just don't know what we're planning, what we got going on, and what you guys, because we've been able to come out to some of your events and some of your things that you have done as well. So I love the empowerment of all of us being able to come together as well.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later, just women's empowerment and how we can come together. So that's good that you mentioned that. All right, we got our virtual prize. And so how our virtual prize works is that we will ask a question. The first person to respond to this question in the live chat will win the prize. Now, this particular question is a little bit different. So there's no solid right or wrong answer. It's based on your opinion. But nevertheless, the first person who responds will win the virtual prize. And how you win your virtual prize is, once we acknowledge who the winner is, you'll put your email address in the chat, and then we will email you instructions on receiving your prize. We like to honor and support small businesses, women-owned businesses, as well as Black-owned businesses. So likely your virtual prize will come from one of the three or a combination of the three. And so the virtual prize question is a true or false question. Men understand women. So it's a statement. Men understand women, true or false? And congratulations ahead of time for the winner. I see you, Miss Laura. You over there trying to answer the question.
That's
all
the
I can say.
interesting thing.
Lies.
No, we're not answering that question. We're gonna answer it in the live chat. We not gonna elaborate.
But how do you know whether the person is right or wrong?
You gotta be there for the live chat to respond to them. That is a live chat question. All right. So we're gonna get right into our discussion. And I know that Lady Tiki has to sign off a little early. And so we're gonna start with some questions with her. And so how our panel works is these ladies are going to be asked a series of questions, and they'll respond based on their experience. And we are so excited to get some new information and new experiences in this live chat. And I just want to say, as we answer the questions, it's an open discussion, you guys. So if I'm going to ask a particular question to somebody, like say your name and then ask the question, but if somebody wants to add to that, then they can feel free to add to that. We're going to go over 3 issues. I think I said this earlier: the mind, the body, and woman to woman. So our first one is called Issues with the Mind of a Woman. And some topics, some of the discussion may include mental health, stress and anxiety, the superwoman syndrome, and just emotional challenges that come with the woman. So our first question, Miss Tiki, you ready?
I am.
Okay. So, and this happens to just be the first question. It ironically, because you're a mental health professional, it goes well with you. But this is the first question. What comes to mind when you think of women and mental health?
Women and mental health. A lot of women, and it's hard for me to separate men from women because I have a lot of men with mental health as well. But when it comes to women, a lot of times women deal with a lot of childhood issues, a lot of stuff that has happened in the past. And it's like you have to walk through that stuff to forgive it, to release it, in order to be who you are created to be now. To reach your full potential, you have to let that stuff go. So when it comes to women and mental health, there is a lot of struggles with self-identity, a lot of struggles with self-esteem and confidence. It's a lot of that, but all of that can be worked through. It's nothing too hard for you to get through if you put your mind to it and willing to work the process and trust the process. It's literally nothing you can't overcome.
Good. Thank you. Anybody want to piggyback or elaborate?
I would ask a question. Do you think that the troubles or the insecurities, a lot of that has to do, and as far as the past is concerned, holding on to those things, it has to do with unforgiveness? Not, what I noticed as a life coach, I can have someone it's very different life coaching than it is counseling. Counseling deals with the past and helps the person recognize what it is that's affecting them and how it's affecting their life, and the what, when, where, why, and how. And with life coaching, it helps to move them into the future. And so with my clients, if I have a client that's had some issues in the past, sometimes they can start talking to me about it, and they seem to relive it versus just telling me the story. So do you think that unforgiveness might be a part of why they have those emotional, stresses for the past?
Yes, unforgiveness is definitely a key part of why it's hard to release it. Sometimes people feel like if I forgive them, then that's giving them the right to have access to me again, or it's giving them the right to say, okay, well, they could do this to me again. And I have to remind them the forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. You are releasing them and letting them go. So no longer will you hold this in your heart where it's stopping you from being who you're supposed to be. So it's not about forgiving them. I always use the analogy of you are sitting there drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. It won't affect them. You holding on to that will never affect them, but it'll affect you. It'll make you sick in your body, sick in your mind, sick in your emotions. So you have to let it go. You have to release it. And it's one assignment that I give my clients all the time. And it's really good. I've done it myself. When it's hard for you to release stuff, you have to write it down. Write it down, release it, cry it, do whatever you need to do, scream about it, put it on paper, and then burn it. Once you burn it, your signpost is saying no longer will this affect my life anymore. It's dead. And so yes, unforgiveness is a really key part of not being able to move forward.
Now when you say burn it, we're not talking about Angela Bassett and Waiting to Exhale burning, right?
Left eye.
We're saying under safe circumstances. We're saying under safe circumstances, you burn it. You put it in the fireplace where it's consumed safely, right? And I'm just being funny, but I get it. And just tell us real quick what the burning part, what does that represent?
So once you write it down on a sheet of paper, this is what I did was write it down on a sheet of paper, put it in the sink and get a lighter and burn it while it's in the sink, because nothing can catch on fire with metal. So burn it in the sink. That way it's safe and you're not slinging it around and the fire getting everywhere else. But the signpost for the burn is as you see the flames eating up the words, as those words are disappearing and turning into ashes and the smoke is coming, release it. That's your place of saying this is dead now. This is the past. There's nothing I can do about the past. I'm freeing myself from it. I can't change it. I release it. No longer will this affect my emotions or my life or my mind. Some people are still losing sleep on stuff that happened years ago. No longer affect my mind from this point on.
Release that bitterness. Yeah.
I think also one of the issues that we have and why it's so hard for us to get rid of it is because, especially my generation, grew up in a time where stay in this house, what happened in this house, stay in this house, or what's going on with you, no matter how bad it's bothering you, you're not allowed to speak it. You're not allowed to tell nobody. Do you understand the effect it would have if you went and to a life coach or something back then? You wasn't allowed to do that. You kept that thing quiet and you didn't say anything. So now it's hard for us to release it or even feel it because we've been taught to suppress it for so many years. And I think that's what a lot of the mental issue comes from, is because we suppress those feelings and those hurts so deep that we never really get a chance to let out. You might shed that one tear when really you need to be screaming and jumping and hollering and really releasing it. And we don't get a chance to do that. Yeah, to cleanse. We don't get a chance to do that.
Yeah. Miss Elle, let me ask Elle real quick. Have you had a similar experience where you had to release? Maybe you didn't do exactly what Miss Tiki suggested, but have you had and you don't have to go into detail about the experience if you have, but just have you had to release?
I've definitely had to release. I'm a recovering crackhead. I've been in recovery now 30 years. I've been clean 30 years.
Right.
How I kind of ran away from what I had going on. And during the recovery phase, I had to get with a lot of stuff and let a lot of things come to memory, deal with them, feel it, and then let it go. And it was rough. It was real rough, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was real rough. So yeah, I've definitely had to do that releasing. Absolutely. But look at me.
Yeah, come on now.
Yes,
Come
all
on.
day.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
She said something that resonated with me, that she had to bring things to memory. And sometimes we go through traumatic experiences and we do literally block the memory out. And I mean, it's like gone, like you've blacked out that moment of your life, and having to bring them back to surface. Now, what do we do with them? Because if we've been suppressed all of our lives, like don't tell nobody, it's what goes on in your house stays in your house, then you grow up and become a woman who doesn't know how to express emotion, doesn't know how to get those things out. But then you come to the realization, but I gotta get them out. How do I do this? How do I get this out of my head? How do I get this out of my spirit? How do I, have a day-to-day function, a normal functioning every day with this in me? And that's a good one. How do you get that out?
And real normality, because what I thought was normal was definitely not normal. What I've learned, how I've come out of it, now I realize that's a normal life. But that sickness that I was in and others that are in, that's not normal, but we've been led to believe that it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the enemy
That's
has his way, right?
Don't he though?
Confusing us.
What verse said we're gonna stomp him on his head? My grandbaby still sing that song.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Jump on his head. That's right. That's interesting, because that's what he said. We would be having to. That's what we were called to do after the fall.
Yes.
Is that we are to step on the serpent's head. And I think that sometimes we let our emotions get in the way of all of the me stuff. Me,
Yeah.
I, and the emotions and all behind it, and forget that we got a job to do. There's a serpent's head that we have to stomp on, and all the attitude and rolling our necks and all of this stuff that we have. I think it's okay, but as long as you're applying it in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Miss L. So I'm sorry.
Oh no, I apologize. Go right ahead.
You want to chime in?
Yeah, I did want to chime in on the question that she had regarding basically those suppressed feelings, and how do we reach that place? How do we go in those? But sometimes we don't even know that we are dealing with rejection, and some people carry that whole spirit of rejection with them because they don't understand it's something happened maybe in the womb, from them being from their mom. And so that being said, in healing and deliverance, we basically address those issues of revisiting of like, okay, what happened during that time? What is the first, maybe traumatic event that you experienced? And in the process of doing that, they'll say, oh, well, my mom was, a teenager and pregnant. And so we'll revisit that time, and what the first thing that I do is ask them is, where was God during that time? Where do you feel that God was during that time, that during the rejection? What would he have wanted her to know? What would he have wanted you to know during that time in her womb? And so sometimes we have to go all the way back, like that far, where trauma begins, and we just continue working forward item by item and revisiting those. It takes time. But it takes
That's
time.
good,
But
because sometimes trauma can be before our first memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not always what we see or what we hear. It could be how something caused us to feel. Good. And
I was going to say that there's sometimes I know we have a big thing, it's a big deal about trauma, but I also think that sometimes women have paradigm shifts in their lives, things that happen that just totally shifts their mindset. And that's things like teenage pregnancy, or losing a parent, or, there's total shifts in the life. that just makes you have to grow up too fast. You go from being 14, 15, playing outside with your friends to having to stay in the house to take care of a child, and making sure that that child has all of its provisions and so on, and then also battling, dealing with co-parenting with someone else who you didn't necessarily think that this was going to happen with. It's just a lot that goes with it. So I call it a paradigm shift. I don't necessarily call it a trauma, because it's a shift in the life. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a pleasant shift, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's traumatic. It's just something that just, like blows up who you are into a whole nother being.
It can. I think it can be both, just depending on how it's received. Trauma is about reception.
That's true.
It can be about reception, how you receive something. Yeah. Yeah. So we all go through those things. And I just think about how much, I think we used the word devalue earlier, when we were talking a little bit during the introduction, just how women are devalued. Society has a lot of devalues, if that makes sense, for women. Even now, even though we're in a culture now where we don't see things that we used to, we still have it where if we're not careful, I think that's one of the biggest things that the enemy does, is he tries to devalue us as a woman, make us feel less than. And we'll get into this part, what I'm about to say, in the body section, but devalue us through the selling of our body, thinking that that's the only way that somebody's going to want us, sexually devaluing us, thinking that if we don't let that person touch us, that they won't want us, physically devaluing us. We think we misunderstand physical abuse for love. Like, all of those are sources of devalue, and that causes us emotional distress. It causes us to misunderstand who we are as a person, because we might not have had a chance to grow. Nobody poured into us, so we don't even know what position we're supposed to be. Women say often, I need to find out who I am. Who am I? I've been put in this role since I was a little girl, and I never got an opportunity to choose some things on my own, Okay. I want to speak a little bit. Miss Tiki, are you still there? Did she have to leave?
Nope, I'm still on.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the superwoman syndrome, like where we feel like we have to be and do everything?
Hunty. I often, and it's funny you said that, I often have to remind myself, and it's sometimes it's not good. However, sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we can do all things. We really can do all things, but it's like, why should you have to? Sometimes as women, we feel like it won't get done just right unless I do it. It won't get, it has to be done by us. And that's sometimes we take on so much. We take on literally everything from our families, work, ministries on our shoulders. And sometimes it's hard to relinquish that stuff because you feel like it ain't gonna be done just right. And I have to remind myself, okay, yeah, I do gotta, but
if I don't do it, it ain't gonna get done right.
So it's like I have to remind myself, yeah, you got this S on your chest, but you need to rest. Okay, I need you to go have and rest and take out time for yourself, because we'll keep going and going. And so now I have given myself permission. Like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, oh no, I'm not giving. Because before it was like, oh yeah, sure, I got you. Now it's like, no, I got me. Because at the end of the day, if I run myself raggedy, who's gonna have me? So that goes back to the self-care. I'm a big advocate for self-care, y'all. So y'all gonna hear me say that a lot.
Awesome.
You have to into you and make sure you are good. You can't do everything. So sometimes we have to learn the gift of no.
There you go.
Let me just say this real quick about self-care. Yeah, self-care. A lot of times when I ask people what do they do for self-care, the first two things that women say is they go get their hair done and they get their nails done.
Exactly.
I always tell them that's great, because I like to get my nails done and sometimes get my hair done. But our true form of self-care is really spending some time with yourself, or spending some time with you and God, and really doing something for your inside. How are you working on the inside? So I just wanted to point that out, because when we talk about self-care for us as women, like you said, like the superwoman syndrome, self-care wouldn't be, let me go to, find something else to do. Let me just kind of relax, relate, and release, but also let me journal. Let me read a book. Let me listen to some music. Let me pray. Let me sleep. Let me do something. Let me take a walk. Let me process how I truly feel.
Put on some word and let that word go into your spirit while you rest. It's rejuvenating.
Exactly. Okay. Miss Justina,
Yeah, I'm
I know
guilty
this
of all
isn't
of
your
that.
topic, but I wanted you're director of a whole program. Do you have Superwoman syndrome? If not, tell us how you keep from it. If so, tell us how you working on it.
So Miss Tangi, I've been doing this over 21 years now. And it took me years to understand that I do not have to be the superwoman. So first of all, I was that young teen pregnant at age 16. Okay. Listened to the sweet nothings of my boyfriend from high school. Felt like that's where my value was. End up getting pregnant at age 16. Had my baby on my own. My boyfriend, he left, never was there. Met my husband, got married at 18, and end up having 6 children. Okay, 5 sons. So naturally, I was superwoman. I was super mom at home, taking care of all 6 of my kids. Eventually, God leads me into the ministry to care for other kids, other children. So yes, that mindset continued over into ministry. And I felt like I had to be here, there, here, do this, do that. It wasn't going to be done right. I'll give you a chance to do it, but then I'm going to come behind you and I'm going to do it the way it really, really needs to be done. So I really learned over the years, as I learned how God values me and what he wants for me, and that is not my ministry, that it's his, and how I am just a vessel. And not only am I a vessel, I'm not the only vessel. There are other vessels that God is bringing into this ministry to accomplish the work of God. So once I started realizing that, I started learning the value, as Tiki said, the gift of no, the gift of not right now, or the gift of I cannot do that. Let me find somebody else to do it for you that can help you. So yes, ma'am, I learned that probably maybe about 10 or so years ago. And then it tries to creep up on me. And I have to remind myself, don't go back there. God has somebody to take care of that. You stay where God wants you to be, so you don't get overwhelmed, overworked, and you can't pour out. Make sure you're poured into. So yes, ma'am, been there. For sure.
Yeah.
For me, it's so funny because I finally realized that my way ain't always the right way.
Exactly.
As much as I wanted it to be, my way was the right way. And the only way, I'm so sorry, girl. It ain't that serious. People showed me some stuff too. And then when I incorporated my way, I said, oh, you know what? Now that was a better way. So sometimes you gotta, like you said, come out of yourself and realize that he make a team. He said, no, nobody walk alone. It's a team player thing. When he sent them out, he sent them out in 2. So you're supposed to have somebody that work with you. And in numbers, we do better instead of trying to always stand alone.
And here's the thing. I think about everybody that's on the video, and all of us can name off several things that we do. I'm this by day, I'm this by night, and I'm this on the weekends. I do this part-time, I do this full-time. Plus I got my family, I got my husband, I got all of these things. So we know we can do a lot of things. And I think Tiki hit on that earlier, but we have to understand what God really is positioning us to do. And what is he showing us to do, and what is he telling us to do, even when we're operating in our gifts. We don't want to get ahead of him, because once we get ahead of God, and the phrase references put the carriage before the horse. Once we put the carriage before the horse, then that's where we get troubled, we get stressed, we get anxious, we get depressed. We don't know how to deal with our emotions.
Yeah, I'm I'm guilty of when I hear somebody else is doing something really fun and cool and, whatever their gift is, what they've been gifted to do, I want to, figure out a way of how we can join in and help and be a part of other people's things, which I think God does, open doors for us to be able to do that. But usually it's you operating in your own gift to collaborate with someone else's gift, not to necessarily jump in on what they're doing. But my wheels always go to turning. How can we help with this? How can we get, okay, well, just because it sounds good and it sounds great, you don't necessarily have it on your plate, Tiffany. You don't have the time to really invest in what somebody else has been called to do. And so I think a lot of us, get to that point too. It's like, I'm there, I'll be there, let me know. But you got your own call and you have things that you supposed, so that power of no goes a long way. A lot of different directions.
And it can sound different ways. No, not today. Don't say I'll think about it, because that means you're not telling the truth. Really, you mean no. Or you can push the power back on them. I think that's something you could do yourself. Like, you got the power.
You can do it.
You want me to show you how to do it?
Yeah, I just wanted to add. So I started working at 15, and I prided myself on being independent, being able to take care of stuff myself, being able to help my family out. I was always the friend that people turn to for help and stuff like that. So I was always like, Miss Independent, I'm the one, I got it, everybody can lean on me, stuff like that. And I had a hard time leaning on other people. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to express myself, use my voice, ask for help, things like that. And so that's been a journey. And I'm in a season now where it's comfortable for me to say, I don't have it myself. I need help. I need you to assist me in this way. I need you to show up for me in this way. I don't have to have it all together, because we are created to be in community. So I don't need to be Miss Independent. Like, I need to be Miss Interdependent. So that's where I am.
Well, they don't have a song for that. They got INTE. She want to change it to INTE.
She got her own car. She got her own. Tangela,
No,
you
I'm
said something
kidding.
some years ago that has always stuck with me regarding what we've been doing since all of the branches off of our nonprofit Ladies in Full Effect, which was, instead of trying to do everything ourselves, you were saying, go where God is already working.
Yeah.
Already working. There's other people.
God-sized assignment.
Right. It's a God. Everybody has a God-sized assignment. And so you go to where people are already doing certain things that can help you pull it together, and creating your own genre. It becomes different. It becomes your own personal thing, but it's okay. It's okay to ask for help or to collaborate and get some other people to do some of these things. You don't have to do everything yourself.
We're gonna move to the body.
I'm not your superwoman. I wanted to say
right.
it, but nobody gonna sing
that. No, we're not gonna sing that. We might sing it at the end. So we're gonna move to
I saw that look. She gonna sing it.
Listen, that song back in the day, boy, we knew that song from beginning early in the morning. I put breakfast
y'all not
on
gonna
your
say
table.
I'm not your superwoman.
We had to tell that to ourselves too, right?
That's right. We do.
All right. So I'm gonna ask this last question to you, Adria, and then we'll move to the body. What self-care techniques do you use?
I have a few of them. So I tell people this all the time, like, I romanticize my life. So everything that I do, like, I am my main character in my life, and I deserve to treat myself as such. So I will run myself a bath, have some music playing or some word playing, light some candles. I will, even on my drives to work or things like that, because I have an hour drive sometimes, I'll play some word. I'll, like, in the morning, first thing, I'll do the Bible app, do the whole like daily thing, like pouring into myself every way that I can. That's the best ways that I do self-care, and allow myself to say no and have boundaries. That's been a very helpful way of practicing self-care as well, because it's not just things to do, it's also like emotions and processing my feelings and allowing myself to have those standards.
Good.
That's
Set
good.
boundaries.
I like that.
Ooh.
Now she said saying no, the power
boundaries.
of saying no is part of self-care.
It absolutely is. Yeah. You can't be a yes person all the time, People can't always lean and depend on you. But setting boundaries also is just kind of setting boundaries for yourself first. Because sometimes I do it. I got it. Don't worry about it.
Or you
I
try to
can
figure
get
out how to
there.
squeeze it in, you know, and it,
Well,
and you know, because of our emotions, I know I'm the person, if I can't and I had to, you know, reject the offer and tell somebody I can't do it, it'll stay on my mind and in my heart to try to figure out how I can finagle this into my schedule or help the person figure it out. It becomes a part of me. So I know that if I already said that I couldn't do something, express that, and I'm thinking about it later, I know that if I had said yes, that it would have consumed me.
Well, if you're not careful, you overcommit and you underdeliver.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's exactly what
overcommit, and I don't want to do that. I just rather tell you that I can't commit. You know,
right.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about our bodies, inside and out. Women's reproductive systems may come up. Our health and wellness. This is important. Women's exercise, abuse, sexual and physical abuse that may come up as well. Our bodies are precious. You know, the Word of God talks about our bodies being a temple of the Holy Spirit. And so our bodies must be kept clean inside and out. They have special doctors for women, the gynecologists. Like, I don't know if men have a gynecologist or whatever, but they have women's centers at the hospital. You know, they got everything. So I'm going to start with Miss Justina. What kind of issues do women typically have with their bodies? What comes to mind for you?
Because we were going to talk about this particular topic, I definitely wanted to do just a little bit of research so we can actually have some factual information. And I researched, and the top 5 health concerns for women are heart disease.
Wow.
Breast cancer, osteoporosis, depression, believe it or not.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and autoimmune diseases.
Like lupus.
Yes. So these are some of the 5 top concerns of women that they deal with, but also one that has, to me, taken flight over, I would say, the last 10 years outwardly, but has also been pretty silent inwardly over the last 100 years. It was hush hush, is our reproductive issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
African American women are, they say, I think it's 69% of African American women compared to like 27% of white women that are having, they're passing away during child labor.
27%.
So,
That I don't know about that statistic. That's just, I think it's just some things that are not being said. You know, somebody pointed out to me, and I don't want to raise it as an issue, but a lot of things point to the Black woman a lot and try to make it seem like our issues outweigh other people's issues. But nevertheless, I think it's a huge issue just not being talked about.
It's inflated.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Like for me, I always tend to think that some of the things that we tend to accept because of science, I'll put it that way, that it causes issues in us. You know, birth control is one of those things. You know, I always say I had birth control when I was a teenager, and you know, when I got with my husband, this is a little personal, but when I got with my husband, I didn't get pregnant right away. You know, I stopped birth control. I was 20 years old. And it actually took some hormonal therapy, like things to help balance my hormones and things. And I was 30 years old when I had my first child and my first pregnancy. And so I think that they're not saying some things, if you know what I mean. You
Absolutely.
know, because
yeah. Because we can talk about this topic all the rest of the session, but I want to make sure we get all of the information in, because Ms. Justina said that she came with research, which I love.
Yes.
But I wanted to point out, you said heart disease is one of the top 5, and I think that that's stress related.
Yes, absolutely.
It can be food related too, but it's highly stress related.
It really is, because women carry a lot of stress. Women across the board, all sizes, shapes. Stress is a killer, and it goes directly to the heart. And so one major, we were talking about self-care earlier. I think one area that we really, really need to focus on is stress. We need to find ourselves in positions where we can pull away and de-stress ourselves. I think I forgot her name. Our 20-year-old queen that's on the call.
Miss Adria.
Yes, Miss Adria. What she does, you know, to do self-care, running that bath and listening to that music, and it literally allows your cortisol levels to drop. And when those levels are low, your whole insides, everything in you drops, and you're able to calm yourself, and it relieves stress. And I think women need to find more moments like that. It's different for women across the board when it comes to self-care. Some women who never really get their nails done or get their hair done, if they go do that, that's actually a treat for them. So that could be a self-care for them. Someone else, it could be, I listen to music all the time and I sing all the time, but I don't often get a chance to have a candlelight dinner. So that might be their self-care. So it depends on who you are, what your circumstances are. But one thing that we all know and need, and that we have in common, is that we need quiet time. You know, we need time to breathe. We need to take the breaths. And that actually helps our heart, believe it or not. Sleep helps our.
And I want to say real quick on sleep. I statistically, women sleep longer than men. They need more rest. And that's just statistically, like they say man can get 4 to 6 hours and be okay, feel rested. And then a woman needs about 6 to 8, sometimes over 8 hours to feel rested. So I'm not saying that we should all just sleep, but I do think statistically women do tend to sleep a lot if they can get some sleep. Because I think there's a lot of people not sleeping. They have issues with sleeping at night.
Ooh, I love being able to sleep. I say, okay, I'm about to go to sleep, and I'm gonna sleep till I can't sleep no more. So y'all don't bother me.
That's right. I believe in the nap. Power of the nap.
Oh,
Which
yes.
is funny because I'm not a big sleeper. I'm not, but I have to watch
right
that
now.
because I'm also the person that thinks about a lot of
As soon
stuff
as we hang up.
in the middle of the night too. So I have to be really
Your
careful
mind
with that
keeps
because
going.
my mind, Tiffany, I'll text her at 7 o'clock in the morning with something that's been on my mind. She didn't know it was on my mind at 4 o'clock this morning, but I didn't want to text her that early.
Oh,
But I
she
had to
wakes
get it
up
out.
to text messages. Sometimes I have
Yeah.
something going on in my head, and I say she'll catch it in the morning when she
Yeah.
wakes up.
Right, when she wake up. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, the other thing with that rest and the issue too, is a lot of times we ignore the signs that our bodies tell us that something's going wrong, or that you're getting tired, or you're overworking. But you know, we just can't stop. We gotta keep going because we got the kids, we got the husband, and the house, and the job. And by the time you get to yourself, girl, you laid out you gotta sleep for 12 hours or better, because your body has said that is it. We are done. Right. And my body has done that quite to me. My grandfather was when he found out he had diabetes, it was because of stress.
Yeah.
That's how he got diabetes. It wasn't nothing wrong with that man. And I think a series of deaths had happened, and it stressed him out so bad. Next thing we knew, he had sugar and they was going to amputate. So a little bit of that, a lot of that is also because he didn't go check it beforehand. But stress is a terrible, terrible thing. And it can do a lot to your body. And a lot of times when we get the sign, instead of listening to that sign and dealing with it, we just keep right on going. We have to learn how to, like you said, self-care, to just fall back sometime and just, you know, your body say sat down, then doggone it, sat down.
Sit down.
And I was going to ask too, Miss Justina, do you think that stress contributes to reproductive problems?
Now, I will tell you what my doctor told me, that stress is a part of some reproductive problems. It is a part. Stress literally can affect almost every organ in your body. Organ.
Wow.
And this is also why sleep is so important, you know, because it used to be where you kind of brag about, you know, I only got 5 hours of sleep last night, but I did this, that, and the day. And when the body repairs itself during those cells rejuvenate. There are things that happen in your body that your body needs to happen in sleep. If you don't get that sleep, you've missed out on that rejuvenation, that repair, that healing. Your body has to heal itself. And that happens in sleep. So we need it. We've got to have it.
That's good. That's good. What type of reproductive issues do we want to highlight in this segment? Because I don't want to miss that part.
Yeah, so I want to tell you some of the most common reproductive health concerns for women. Endometriosis. You might hear something that's familiar to you. Uterine fibroids. Gynecologic cancer. HIV and AIDS is growing among women.
Yes.
Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. I know several women who have this and suffer from it.
Me too.
Yes.
Sexually transmitted diseases.
Yes.
And sexual
like
violence.
HIV.
Now, I want to share something with you guys. I just went through something myself very recently. Coming up to 2018, you know, I knew that I was should be going through menopause. Menopause is when a woman stops having her cycle for a year straight, 12 months straight. You have gone through menopause. Well, I started when I was about 52. I'm going 2 months, no cycle. I said, okay, I'm getting there. 53, I went like 4 months, no cycle. Then here comes a little something. 54 came, and I'm still not going a full 12 months with no cycle, even though my cycle is becoming less and less. I don't want to be too graphic. And so I went to my doctor, and I have a woman doctor, and they said women doctors are more open. They hear you out. They spend more time with you in the doctor's office. This is well. So I was very confident that my woman doctor was going to take care of me. And I said, well, you know, I'm this age and I'm still having a bit of cycles. It's not every month. I said, is this normal? She says, oh, you know, women are different. Women's bodies are just very different. It's probably nothing. And so a few months later, I went and I said, look, this is still going on. I just want to know, is it normal? I wanted to ask my mother about it. How did she go through menopause? What did she experience? But she got a hysterectomy so early on, she never went through menopause. I have a great aunt who she's actually my cousin, but she's old enough to be my aunt because she was my mother's best friend. And I wanted to ask her advice. She couldn't tell me why. She had a hysterectomy. So I just decided, okay, I'm not going to anyone else asking any more questions. Went back to my doctor a third time. I said, can you just give me a pap smear to make sure that everything is normal with me? Because I've been doing a little reading and I don't feel like it's normal for me to bleed like this. And she said, you know, it's probably just you and your husband being a little too rough.
Girl.
And I said, I can guarantee it's not that. It's not that. Because my husband and I just take a break, like wait a month and then you go to the doctor and let's find out. So I told her it's that. And I'm like pleading with her to can you just help me out? Like, is this normal?
Check me.
The pap smear she did the pap smear. The results came back. They came back normal. So now we're in 2019. And this is when I took that pap smear. 2020 came and you all know the pandemic hit. Nobody wanted to be in anybody's doctor's office. So I didn't. I went through 2020 going through the same thing. 2021, I decided when the doctor's offices started opening back up, I was going to change doctors because I just was not getting the answers that I felt like I needed. Did not go to my new doctor until 2022. I needed a refill on my blood pressure meds. So last year in the month of June, I decided to visit my new doctor. Wonderful lady. We're going through the visit. She says, you know, things look good as far as my blood pressure and you know, no diabetes and all of that. And toward the end of the visit, I said, well, can I just ask you something? I went through this with my last doctor and I asked her about this, that, and the other. And she told me this. I said, is this normal for me at my age? She said, Ms. Dix, we want to run some tests. She says, I don't like the sound of that. So we're going to get you a biopsy. We're going to get you a few tests run and just see what's going on. She said, hopefully it's nothing. I said, well, I appreciate it. So she scheduled me a biopsy. It was going to be about 3 weeks out. Then they called me and said they had to cancel that and reschedule me for another date later because that particular doctor wouldn't be in the office. My doctor found out they rescheduled it. And by the way, she was 9 months pregnant when I went into her. And she told me at that visit, I'm going to send you to another doctor because I'm going on maternity leave. So as she's entering her maternity leave, she calls me, says, Ms. Dix, I heard that they postponed your appointment. So I'm going to send you for an ultrasound appointment on Monday. This was a Friday. I don't want you to wait that long. And when I tell you that God has a putting things on people's hearts for our sake, this doctor, before she went on maternity leave, that I was going to be checked out. I went in for that appointment on that Monday, and the results came back that I had a mass on my ovary. And she says, because of this mass, you definitely do need this full biopsy. And we're going to find out what it is. She said, could be benign. We don't know. Long story short, after the biopsy was completed, they sat down and told me that I had cancer.
Wow.
2018, we could have found this out if my doctor had just did what I had. And now we have to find out whether or not this cancer is contained fully in my uterus or if it's spread outside of my uterus. We did another test. Thankfully, with much prayer, it was all contained within my uterus. She said if it was outside, we would have to do a different type of treatment, chemo, radiation, all of that. She said, but now that we know it's contained within the uterus, you can do radiation, we can do chemo and keep your uterus, or we can take it all out and get rid of it all at once, because I was stage 1, thankfully, and the mass was, it wasn't as big as, we thought. So November 3rd of 2022, I had surgery, a full hysterectomy. Thankfully, everything was taken out. They did a pathology report, which is the report that they do to make sure there's no cancer anywhere in my tissues or muscles or had spread anywhere. Everything came back clear. I'm so thankful that I'm cancer-free today.
All right, praise God.
But in the midst, y'all, in the midst of this, I found out that several of my family members, women, had hysterectomies when they were in their 30s.
Wow.
Because they had eating, and the doctors told them, this is the best thing to do. Let's just get rid of all of it. One of my cousins recently got married. She and her husband can never have children because she had a hysterectomy. So many women came out as I was sharing my story. They said, you know what, Dix, I've been bleeding for a long time. My doctor said that, this is just how it is. And I had no idea that I could push the issue and get help. I had women from all walks of life, volunteers, partners, donors from our programs telling me how they're going through the very same thing now. And they didn't know they could do something about it. So I am a big advocate about pressing your doctor.
That's right.
Wrong in your body. If you feel off, don't be afraid. Please help me, test me. Is this normal? What can we do so we can find out what's going on with me? This is not natural. I don't feel right. I'm bleeding too much. Whatever it is, feel free to tell your doctor. And if that doctor will not listen, you change and find one.
To another one. That's right. That's right.
And please let me add, not to let them not run tests, because I've been to a doctor and I told them what my symptoms were and what I thought it was, and they treated me based off of what I said versus running tests. It was not what it was. Run test.
Yes.
They already think that us as Black people have a high tolerance for pain, so they don't take our ailments or how we feeling serious at all. And we have to really, I'm paying you. You're not doing this to me for free. And if I tell you I don't feel well, then you need to figure out what's going on. But they just think they can do anything to we crash dummies, and we're not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The
Mhm.
same pain that the white women or whoever other women go through, we go through as well. And we need to be checked on, just like they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
right. That's a good one.
That I've talked to several doctors and nurses, and there definitely is a consensus that African American women are going through these issues, these reproductive issues, at a higher rate than any
And
other
everybody else.
of women. And it is because a lot of them are not getting the care they need, or I just recently talked to a nurse who says many of them are dismissed. She says she's a
Mhm.
nurse, has seen it happen time and time again. They're just told, hey, like, you know, you got a tolerance for pain, or it really isn't. This is nothing new, or this is normal. You'll be able to get through it
Mhm.
for months, and we'll revisit. So yes, we
Right.
definitely advocates for our own body. That is self-care. Like
I
going,
also think we got to do more research on the stuff that they're giving us, you know, because when you start combining everything from vaccines to birth controls to medications to, it's like you got all of this stuff that you're injecting into your temple, and your body has to go here, 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 ping, ping, ping. It's like that pinball machine, and you trying to keep that little ball from dropping, you know, and get as many points as you can before it's gone. So I think we also have to look at that, not to mention the things we put on outside of our body with the perfumes and the makeup and the lotions and the oils and the so on and so forth. It's a lot that we're doing to our bodies, and our skin is an organ as well that brings things internal, you know, and on top of that, the stress, learning how to, you know, let go of emotional things healthily. You know, it's so.
Yeah. Yeah. On a side note, I've been studying the lymphatic system and getting a better understanding of that. We don't talk about that, but that's where we, to my understanding, flush our toxins. They go through that, and if it's not healthy, you know, part of our immune system, then it can contribute to some other health issues.
Mhm.
So yeah, so our reproductive system, our uterus, our ovaries, our fallopian tubes, our cervix, our vaginal area, all of that's important.
Breast,
Our
you
breast,
know, that's another
um,
thing, Tangie. Like women don't breastfeed as long or at all. You know, doing a
just natural
3-month or
thing. Yeah.
6-month breastfeed for a child, that's a natural thing. There's a reason. That is another way to help get rid of, you know, toxins out of the body. It's a natural, you know, I don't know the word for it. I want to say some kind of pathy, but
Tiffany, it's a
I would,
natural thing that God created. He placed that. He actually created our bodies to reproduce and then to take care of and nurture and
Others.
feed the children that we have.
Mhm.
So I breastfed all 6 of my kids, and they have been so healthy. Like it, and not only help,
Mhm.
it also helps your child. And and a person who also, I can't take a lot of things. I'm allergic to a lot of things. I can't use a lot of creams and you know, deodorants and these type things. Sometimes your body will just reject some of the stuff, you know, that's out here
Mhm.
because it's just not good for you. So our bodies will teach us, you know, it let us know
Mhm.
what we don't need. But I definitely do believe that the natural way of things, that sometimes we have to revert back to that, even though we weren't taught that. Because I know
Mhm.
my dad, they didn't teach a natural way. Is that's something foreign,
exactly.
you know. But
Yeah.
as we grow and learn, and we learn about these things, it's like, okay, yeah, this is God's natural way, and man has added a lot of
Right.
acts to what God has created.
Well, there goes
Exactly.
that scripture, you know, it says, be not conformed to this world. And we tend to
That's
think
right.
that only means that sex or, you know,
Right.
things like, or money and things of that nature. It's more than that. It's how we nurture ourselves, how we take care of our bodies. We have to be careful with those things that they're offering us. Because I mean, and this is just my own experience. I have some white clients and they don't necessarily use lotions and things on their bodies, you know. We always have to come out. Remember,
Now, I've
we
been
were
praying like,
greedy.
Lord, don't take my lotion away. What
Right.
else? You know, they got shea butter and things like that. That's a healthy alternative.
Mhm.
But, you know,
Right.
deodorant is another thing. You know,
That's right.
I found some natural deodorant, y'all, and I love it. And then I know the person who make it too. So that makes it even better because I know what they put in it. I love it. I'm like, I've never loved deodorant before in my life. But it's a
I love
moisturizer.
deodorant too, guys.
My armpits have never felt so good. I was like, man, where is this? This should have been on the market.
Share.
Okay.
Share.
And you got to share that with us when you do the, share it with us and let us see it.
Even have y'all heard of the Cherish pads? So they have some pads now that some Black folks have made. It's been on the market for a little while now, and my daughter was using them. Took away the cramps, the smell. They showed you all the plastic and all the other stuff that they put in them pads, and that's between your legs with all that heat, and that stuff is getting in our body. That's why a lot of things we go through, the tampons and stuff like that, that is not natural. You
It
are not
causes a
supposed to be
blockage.
stopping the blood
Yeah.
halfway
That blocks
before
a
it get
natural
out.
flow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're supposed
Yeah.
to be a natural flow, absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff on the market, but we didn't know no better. Like you see
Yeah.
the commercials and OB and OG and blah blah. So and we fall into it. But I say, even as a hairstylist, a lot of things that I do, I go back to the old way of Granny and them. I'm not all that. I'm not doing it because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't go with the body chemistry. It literally goes against what our body's supposed to do and what it's made of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Good. So we gotta move on to the next topic. Is everybody good with timing? I know we're
Yes,
close
I'm
to
good.
our mark. Okay. If you have to log out, we do truly understand. But we're gonna just keep going until we are able to wrap up. So the thing about it is, I think we got out of what you said, Justina, is when you go to the doctor, make sure you know that you can ask the right questions, make sure you get tests run. And I think when you do your annual checkup, don't limit yourself to what they tell you that you can have. You can get like some extra services if you need it, because they only really check for like the pap smear only really checks for like cervical cancer, and the blood tests are going to test for basic things. And they ask you if you want to test for STDs and things like that. There's not always just going to automatically come, but maybe you need an ultrasound to just check the inside of your stomach to see if there's any growth in the area. You can ask for that. So don't be afraid to ask for additional support.
That real quick. Amen on the ultrasound. It is a simple test, but it shows a lot, and you can ask for that. The pap smear that is normal, that women normally get, this cancer didn't show up with the pap smear. So that wasn't enough. But my body was saying something else is going on. And when they did sound, that showed the cancer. So I appreciate you saying that, Pastor Tangi.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what ways can a woman better care for her body? And that's for anybody.
Massage therapy.
Come on, then. I like a good massage.
Yes. And that's also like what Tangi mentioned earlier, lymphatic drainage that comes through massage therapy to help drain all of those toxins and things. And I'm gonna tell you, working on my clients, sometimes, an hour massage, when they're done, they'll get up. Sometimes their eyes are blurry. And it's because of toxins that are being released. We tell them to drink a lot of water, because sometimes the toxin, if you have something in your body that can cause a sickness and you have a massage, you can feel like you have the flu for like days, just because of the toxins that your body is releasing. And I know a young man who did that. He got out on his own at 22 years old and didn't know how to cook. His family didn't teach him how to cook for himself. So he ate fast food all the time. And he had gotten in a car accident, which brought him to our office for accident injury. And I did a massage on him, and he was down for like a week, feeling like he had the flu because of all the toxins that the fast food had entered into his body.
Ooh. I can only imagine what that was like. Yeah. Exercise is good too. Regular exercise. And there are exercises that are specific for women. I wouldn't recommend trying to do things that men do for exercise. Find what's unique to women. because it is for mind and body purposes. I think also doing your own check, your own little personal exams and checks.
Mhm.
Not to get too graphic, but a doctor will tell you might need to get a mirror down there and check, your area kind of
Look
thing.
around. That's right.
Yeah. And
Know
then
the colors, know the smells, know the sounds, know the feelings.
exactly. And not letting
Absolutely.
anybody abuse your body. Now, we probably won't be able to get into the sexual abuse and physical abuse in detail, and we'll say that for another workshop, but don't let anybody abuse your body. That's your body. Don't let anybody take advantage. I see you trying to chime in, Adria.
Yeah, I was just talking about like how to help yourself, take care of yourself. I was in a car accident in October, and so that led me to have to go to chiropractor appointments. And when I got the first x-ray, they showed me the state of my spine, and he was like, this was already like pre-existing. You already had pre-existing conditions before you came in here. The accident just made it more prevalent. And so when I started going, like, it started actually helping with some of my cramps, because I would have really painful cramps. And so it started helping with that. I don't know the connection between it, but I just know that that was something that helped me in a lot of areas in my life where I didn't even realize I was already having pain because of that.
Wow.
Okay, let me explain
So
real quick.
Somebody has said to
maybe
me,
like
Tiffany,
posture.
that we
show
need
her
to get
real quick.
alignments. You need to get your
This
back
right
aligned.
here.
Absolutely.
This is your spine. This is your spine, right? So these are all of the vertebrae, right? So if your vertebrae is out, the chiropractor, they call it cracking your back, but when he aligns you, this is because you have a vertebrae that's like that. And if it's like that, there's a nerve that is being affected. Some people get irritable bowel syndrome, headaches, all kinds of things, just because that vertebrae is sitting like this on a nerve. And so when he adjusts you, it's to put it back. And usually if you have a chiropractor, you want to have a massage therapy, a massage afterwards, because he works the bones, massage therapist works the muscles. And if the muscles are tight, they just pull you back out.
Wow.
And if you have an adjustment, put it back in, muscles, just pull it back out. If you have a massage, it loosens the muscles, but you're still like this. So you want to put it back in. So that's why when you have chiropractic care, you should also have massage therapy to loosen so it doesn't pull you back out. I know that.
Get a good mattress too. Mattress, what you sleep on matters. I learned that the hard way myself.
Yes.
Because who wants to buy a mattress? Mattresses can be expensive. So you're like, okay, it's still good. The springs, popping out and everything.
Right.
But we got a good mattress, y'all, and I sleep better than I've slept in a long time.
I had numbness in the top of my thigh. And I thought it was because, like I said, I'm a hairdresser. I'm on my feet a lot. And the doctor said to me it's because I probably have some misalignment in my spine where it's on a nerve. Because I'll be okay all day, and then there's just my right thigh, not even the whole leg, just the thigh will go totally numb, even to the touch, and then I kind of can move it around a little bit, and it'll go back. Or if I, like twist my back a certain kind of way, it'll come up off of it, and it'll go back to not being numb. But I'm thinking, like I said, the weight on the leg.
Sound like your blood flow. Vitamin K2, if you can take it, if you're taking like blood pressure medication, you probably can't take it. And ask your doctor. But the two vitamins that they say that we're missing out is D3 and K2. You can get a combination of the two, but the K2 helps with that blood flow, and it reduces the potential for blood clots. Don't just take it though. If you're taking blood pressure medication, have a conversation with your doctor first. But if it's going numb, that might be what it is. You're missing some vitamin or supplement inside of your body, in addition to what
they said, right?
Yeah. I think
they say all of us is D deficient. Go sit out.
D3. No. D3. It's important. Really? And that came about during COVID. It's very important. So that right there is essential. D3 to our immune system and our overall health and wellness. So Yeah, I think Christina and Adria, y'all might have been wanting to chime in. I see y'all.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on something so simple that a lot of times we forget about it. Breathing.
Breathing.
Mhm.
Yes.
Making sure
Mhm.
that we stop and that we breathe, that we take
Mhm.
calculated breaths, deep
Okay.
breaths in, and
Yeah.
that we are
And blow it
releasing
out.
Yeah.
air.
And know when you're not breathing. Know when you're how often you
Right,
just
when
be
you holding
self-aware,
your
like when you're
breath.
holding your breath.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yep.
when you have intention in your body and you need to release that, you need to just stop and breathe. And,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
Adria's on me all the time. She was like, "Why you have an attitude?" I said, "I don't, baby. I'm just stopping and I'm breathing." And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But but
That's
I
right.
noticed that
That's right. It's
sometimes
not an attitude.
when I get tension or I get heated, or if it's something that I just need to release, let me stop and breathe, get some oxygen to my brain, help
That's-
me
yeah.
think, instead of sometimes just that air is enough for me to be able to think clearly. And so
Mhm.
I think it's important that we remember to breathe, because our body we know our body needs our air, but it's important.
I'm gonna
Right.
tell you again, with the massage therapy, there's a lot that I learned about that. We do teach people to breathe through it, because sometimes we have trigger points that hurt. The natural reaction to pain is for us to stop breathing.
Absolutely.
It's the natural reaction, and that's why even during childbirth, what do they tell us to do?
Breathe.
Breathe. Okay.
I
And
don't
now
know.
what
I
we
never had a child, so I don't know what they tell you. No, I'm just kidding.
excuse me, Tangie was in the room when I had my first one, so she know what to do.
That was traumatic. I need to see therapy for that one. That was traumatic. It's like, what am
No,
I
that
doing
she's so
in
in
here?
love with that child, she don't know what to do. But yes, breathing is a big one, because don't forget, nobody forget, one of the first things that you received coming out of your mother's womb was the breath
Yeah.
of life.
Yes.
The breath of life. Breathe, bring it in, tap into that breath, because we know who it came from.
That's right.
Absolutely.
As a
Absolutely.
matter of fact, they don't even declare a baby living until the baby takes his first breath.
The
First
first breath.
breath.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's about
Very
that
good.
breathing.
Good.
Thank you, Christina, for that one. That was a good one.
That's good.
Breathe.
Okay, we're gonna
Everybody
roll
take a
right
deep breath.
into. There we go. Elle, I didn't see you take a deep breath. There you go.
There you go.
I'm picking on her. Okay, we're gonna roll right into woman to woman, because I want all of us that are on here to have an opportunity to speak on this. And this is us being able to empower each other and really pour into each other. And I think we've been doing a really good job on this workshop session, just pouring and spreading just our knowledge and our understanding. And if you guys, we can share, if you guys want people to reach out to you later, please feel free to let us know, and we'll do that towards the end if you guys want to share just in terms of your advice and your expertise, or they can contact through us. So I wanted to throw that out there too. But woman to woman, we don't always get along as women, but I think today we're doing an awesome job getting along and just sharing a platform. And I wanted to start with Adria and her mother, because they are mother and daughter, and they come to represent the mothers and the daughters. Can you guys talk briefly a little bit about your relationship and just some of the challenges that you guys might have had as mother and daughter, and how you've overcome those challenges?
Well, you want to start out, Adria? Okay. So one of the dynamic with me and Adria's relationship was that as a teenager, like when she was little, it was great because I was home more with them. And when I started working for the airline, they were, middle school, high school. I spent evenings away from home and they were home with their dad, but I was home during the day for like school activities and things like that. And so Adria, because of her dad and her brother, having the same interests and things like that, she started spending a lot of time away from home with her other girlfriends and sisters and things like that. So we didn't really grow apart, but it was just that I wasn't the person that she deferred to because I wasn't there, right? And so that went on kind of through college and, in her young adulthood, and we had to start making conscious efforts for us to connect and communicate and to make time to be available for each other and to for her to know she is my favorite person. You know what I mean? Like for her to know that, and for to be accessible to her. And so and that means that as a mom, sometimes I have to slow down and remove some of my busyness to make room, you know, for her. Even though she's a young woman and an adult, she still needs me as mom, you know, maybe not the same way, maybe not the same way with ponytails and you know what I mean, and stuff like that, but she still needs my attention to matters that as a young woman require help, aid, and you know, and assistance. And then I need her too, because she keeps me young, you know. So
now
we
your
had to
mom,
work.
now you don't be out there wearing the baby hair like the young folks do, you know,
Yes, I
not
do.
that kind of kid.
Man, Adria got that
Where you
baby
think
hair
I got
on
it
fleek,
from?
y'all.
She got the
Baby
best
hair.
baby hair. She had the
She
best
had
baby
you,
hair.
she had
She
you
had the
looking
best.
like you're 12 and a half years old now.
She had the best baby hair. I have to do that menopause baby hair because you know you sweat on your forehead. You can't have.
Exactly. You got to do the light version now.
You know what I'm
gotta
saying?
do the
I do
light
like
version.
two swoops on each
Mhm.
side.
Not the
I can't have,
two
I can't have four
two
swoops.
times.
You telling me I can't have 4 swoops on my edge just now, Miss Christina?
Hey, you can do
They
what you
gonna sweat
want.
out.
It's
They
your
gonna
life,
sweat out,
okay?
girl.
Just
They
keep
gonna
an
sweat
edge
out.
brush in your purse.
I'm
You know,
gonna get Adria to do my
exactly.
baby hair now.
Bring
Now
it back to
listen,
what she
We
was
have a
talking
baby hair class.
let me throw this out real quick because it's important, because you know people watch mother-daughter relationships. We have a really good relationship with our mother, and people have come up to her and said, I wish that I had the relationship that you have with your daughters with me and my daughter. You guys got to know that people watch you guys together. When y'all are together, y'all are like a power team and people are watching. So always be aware of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
Hey,
you.
to be
Adria, you
really
want to throw in?
intentional with
I
like
lost my
developing our
mother.
relationship. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, get baby, get.
We had to be really intentional with developing our relationship and understanding that this takes time. Like building anything, we had to really sit down and say, okay, what works for us? What ways do we need each other to show up for each other? And like, what does our dynamic look like as I'm 26 now, I'll be 27 next month. So it's a different, like I'm entering my young adulthood, like to, you know, my middle age self. So it's just a different dynamic that wasn't the same as high school, middle school. And so something that I do to practice, like making sure that we spend time together and be intentional with how we show up for each other, is I will have her help me in my art shows and things like that, because I want us to spend that time together. She wants to be able to support me in that way, and I need her to support me in that way. So it's just, that's something that helps us bond as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, we do just like working with you guys, we'll do ministry things together. We've done that. That was something we did even as in her childhood, like doing praise and worship, like as a mom, like, so we have giftings, right, in different areas of ministry that we're called to. But one of my areas, the performing arts, I chose to serve in children's ministry alongside my children, so that I could not only you know, do what I was called to do, what God called me to do concerning helping other children, but also to help my son and my daughter develop their gifts. Yes. So that was God, only God showed me to do that. But so I can't take the credit, but it was powerful in that they're young adults and they know their giftings, like they know their purpose and they know the things that God, you know, has called them to do. They're like, don't have to try to figure it out because it's always been there. It's just now maturing into it and walking into some things. And so this is where fellowship with other women and us having good relationships as women comes, because it's not only what I know, but it's what you know, it's what Miss Tangela can add, is what Miss Tiffany can add to Adria, that makes her and is helping her to become the woman that she needs to be. Because as they say, it takes a whole village. It's not just
village.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I lost my mother when I was 17 years old and she was 37. So I understand having a close relationship. And thank God I did have a close relationship with her and my grandmother. And I have 3 daughters. And I have to thank God every day that me and them also have a close relationship. We talk, we laugh, we joke, we argue sometimes. You know, that's what mothers and daughters do. But just keeping that line of communication open, being respectful of them being respectful of me, and just keeping the love open. That love that love language got to be great. You know what I'm saying? A
Mhm.
lot of young ladies don't have that mother figure, and that's how we lose our young girls to the street and to these men, and to what
Yeah.
you were saying. Don't give yourself to these men, and it's a lot. So that's why I think of myself as a nurturer, the mother of many, because I have to show these young ladies love. Like I said, even at the school, a lot of young ladies come here and their mamas don't do right by them, and they homeless and they this and that. Look, we supposed to reach back and help these young ladies. We can't let them just fall to the wayside. And I'm a firm believer in that woman to woman love. We don't got no reason to hate on each other. No
That's
good
right.
reason at all to hate on each other. What we should be doing at all time is lifting each other up. That's
Right.
the village.
Absolutely.
We the village.
They don't
We
want
the
that. They
nurturers.
don't want
No,
that.
they don't want.
They don't want
Baby,
that.
they know we strong.
You
We
know what's
good
gonna
and
happen.
strong. Don't
Miss
play.
L over here reading my notes because my question was going to say, what does it look like for women to bond and lift each other up? And you was over here reading my notes.
I'm sorry, girl. Great minds think alike, baby. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
we
Yes,
get
ma'am.
catty, we get petty, we get underhanded, we do wrong by each other. We are
Yes.
competitive with each other if
Yes.
we're not
Yes.
careful,
I think what's hilarious about all of that is that that's what women do, but that's also what they can't stand.
Right. Right.
They
'Cause,
do
my
say that.
middle name
Well, I don't like
Mhm.
hanging with women because they catty, but
Yeah.
you
And
might
you
be
the
part
catty
of the
one.
Yeah.
But
So
then I
my
have
God.
two. But like just a simple thing of that is like I have 3 eyebrow pencils and get mad because Adria have one of them. I'm just saying, like that's petty. Like let her have one. You got 3. I have to
That's my
work for
eyebrow
it.
pencil.
You know what I
Ain't
Mhm.
mean?
got but
But
2 eyes.
yeah, you can't use but one pencil at a time.
One
So I
pencil
mean,
at a time.
sometimes it's simple things, but like to further add to what you were saying about us women to women, in my case, my mom was on drugs. My mom used drugs through my childhood, and then teenage years we had an alcoholic household, and so there was a lot of things that I had experienced that if you will, warped my mothering experience, my mother mothering me. But I had to, when I tell you that I had to seek God, because I didn't want to be resentful towards her. And I knew that because it's my mother's experiences as a child, that she was doing the best that she knew to do. But I also knew that there was better, right? And so I, even as we're supporting each other and seeking each other, I had to seek the wisdom of God and the Holy Spirit of how to be a better mother. Like, help me, God, to tap into the things that I didn't, have, or the things that are needed that I need to put into my children, because I can't use the excuse that my mom wasn't the example. And so then, I'm going to be, do the same things, or I'm going to disconnect or not communicate or just scream and fuss because that's what I learned. No, we have to undo some of those things. And so we do have to seek God, and the fellowship of other women, of like learning techniques, like go put yourself in the closet, like if you need to not yell at everybody, and pray until you can come out and have a discussion so that you're not creating traumas and things like that for your children, So these are things I have to do myself. And even as an adult mom, I have to still practice. It's different, but I still have to practice patience and to go in that closet and get wisdom from God.
It's funny that you say that, because like I said, I've been 30 years clean. So for a good portion of my children's life, I too was on drugs. And I used to try to, once I kind of got myself together, I tried to overcompensate for the fact that I was on drugs. And God had to get with me. You can't pay none of that back. You can't turn back none of that hands of time. Only thing you can do is from this point forward, do the best and be the best mom that you can. And I say that to anybody, forgive us, because we did not know. We did not know what we did. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I thank God every day for recovery, for being able to get better, because, whoo, baby, it was a rough road. But I made it, you know what I mean? And thank God my kids were understanding. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I was trying to overdo it, and I had to fall back like, girl, you never, and they knew that I was doing that. So at one point, they were trying to put that guilt on me, and it almost got me. You know what I mean? And through the
Yeah.
grace of God, he was like, child, I'll forgive you. I need you to forgive yourself. And then I need you to push forward with what I told you to do. And
That's
it
right.
all worked out. And
And the
yeah, it
power
wasn't easy.
and the
Yes,
power of
ma'am.
that forgiveness is that, even in my situation, and I think Adria's trying to chime in, I'm gonna let you have the floor, is that I was able through that forgiveness and refusing to go into that place where I'm gonna hold unforgiveness against my mother because of things I know she experienced. I can't charge those things to her. We have to give it all to God. Then I was
Yes.
able to usher my mother into the kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Come on, then.
God enabled me to lead my mother to the Lord. And so even as we speak right now, we have a great relationship. It's, there's always challenges, there's always room for growth, but the love is there and the willingness to make it work is there. And she knows that I love her and I honor her as my mother. Even if I can't honor the experiences, I choose to honor her as my mother. And this is the same thing that we have to do for our sisters. This is the same thing we have to do for, the aunties, the other people, friends, co-workers, bosses, even other women that may not be where we feel they,
Yes.
may need to be.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to speak real quick on like women bonding that are not related. I work in the fragrance department in Lenox, and so it's all women pretty much. And so it's competitive, so people can tend to be catty and things like that. So even in high school, I was never the type to be clicked up, to be things like that. Like I was always friends with everybody, nice to everybody. And so I keep that same countenance about myself when I go to work in any other place. I spread love, I'll compliment, I'll be kind. Like even if someone wants to be petty with me, I kill them with kindness, because at the end of the day, they're gonna be the one feeling stupid because they're being mean for no reason. Like you're being mean to somebody that's being kind to you. So at the end of the day, that forces people to look at themselves, and that breaks them down and like, okay, you're treating me this way because you treat yourself this way. So when you learn how to treat yourself kinder, you're going to be able to treat other people kinder as well, other women. Like, so that I just try to move with love and try to spread that love and try to just melt people's hard shells away. Like, it's okay. We're all the same. We're all here to be together. We're all here to support each other, no matter what that looks like.
Have any of you guys had a mean girl experience where somebody was like a mean girl to you?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. High school.
Yeah.
Like it was one of my old best friends, and she tried to like just be like, oh, you're trying to stop my other friendships and things like that. I'm like, girl, we're not even friends.
Y'all see that attitude right there?
Stop.
That's a
look,
spirit.
okay,
It gotta be.
Not today, Satan. Like I'm not trying to. I don't have
right.
none of that those problems like that. So you're trying to be mean to me, but you're really being mean to yourself, because that only affects you at the end of the day. So that mean girl stuff, like that doesn't fly with me. Like I see another pretty girl somewhere, a lot of people will be like, oh, they're gonna take the attention, they're gonna this and that, like competitive. Like the patriarchal society, it teaches us to be like against each other, that we're each other's competition. But when I see somebody else, like any women, like I'm just like, hey, we're friends, we're the same, like let's connect. Let's not be mean to each other. Let's not judge each other. Let's understand each other. Let's learn, because that's valuable for every vicinity.
And
I
telling
just
those
want
women,
to say one thing. My daughter, as a little girl, she was the kind, like, if we go to a restaurant that has a drive-through, every girl that was in the window, no matter what race, what she looked like or anything, she'll roll her window down and she says, excuse me, you're beautiful. And these people would melt immediately, like, oh my gosh, thank you. To the point where they would give her free sodas and things. And one day a girl, he told a girl she was beautiful, and the girl said thank you and closed the window. She was like, she didn't even give me a soda. That's not why you do that. But I did an experiment myself. And it was an experiment on myself. Recently, it was about a month ago, where I went through a drive-through, and I told a young lady that she was beautiful, and she was just like, and like nobody had ever said this to her before. But it made me nervous to say it these days, because nowadays, if you tell another woman that they're beautiful, they think you're trying to come on to them, like you got some other intentions. Exactly. And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I compliment these women and not add on to any arrogance that they may already be having, or to not make them think that there's some underlying, agenda going on, where I can still tell another woman that she's beautiful. Okay, girl, you rocking them boots,
I do that all day long. I'm a compliment.
So do I.
I'm gonna throw out compliments all day, every day, everywhere. I don't care how they take it. You're beautiful, and you're gonna accept this compliment and have a great day. Like,
And that's all, right?
That's right.
And that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do it so quick. When I'm doing it, I don't give you time to respond. Girl, you look good, and I keep on going
keep
so
walking.
fast. You ain't
Keep going.
you ain't got time to say nothing back.
I ain't trying to blow your head up like a balloon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know we're gonna wrap up in a second, but I want you guys to just really, this is a good opportunity for us to give just one piece of advice to all women based on everything that we talked about. Your stories that you mentioned, Tiffany, reminded me yesterday. I was coming out of the Fayetteville Pavilion, where the Publix is, and a young lady was by herself, and she held up a sign that said, "You are enough." And I thought of all the reasons in my mind what made her bring that sign out. Like, at first I was like, well, what made her do that? Like, the sign didn't say, I need food or anything like that. It literally just said, "You are enough." And I felt like this is what I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying to me, that she was, even though she was sharing that with other people who were riding by, she was speaking to herself. She needed to hear that for herself.
Yeah.
And so as we get ready to just express our thoughts to women, and I had to think, like, what does that even mean? Like, what is it that you are enough? A lot of times we don't think that we're good enough. A lot of times we don't think that we're valued enough. A lot of times we don't think that we're appreciated enough. But just 3 words: you are enough.
You are enough.
So thank
That's
you.
good.
Thank you, young lady who randomly was just standing out there with her sign. In Fayetteville.
That's a good one, because
I say you can leave that right there. You are smart enough. You are nice enough. You are pretty enough. You humble and like you enough. You are enough.
Don't overthink that. Like, don't overthink that. Don't try to think. Don't try to look like somebody else. Don't try to act like somebody else. God made you. You're fearfully.
And don't overdo
it.
Don't be an overachiever trying to get the attention. Then you end up with the wrong attention.
That's right.
You gotta
validate other sources than God.
Yeah, if you can't see me, I'm gonna wear my hair longer. I'm gonna put my makeup on thicker, or I'm gonna put on my clothes
wear
higher.
my heels higher, right?
That's right. Don't overdo. Let's call them overachievers.
That's right. Just be yourself.
You end up over that. That's right. You are enough.
My piece of advice would be to first learn yourself, learn your core of who you are, your needs, your desires, and structure your life around that, and love yourself despite
Come on.
And be there for yourself. Show up for yourself the same way that we show up for other people.
That's right.
Good
one. My advice, that's beautiful, Adria. My advice would be to sit still long enough with God to allow him to show you his purpose and plan for your life. A lot of times we are trying to be other people, and we see somebody do something, and especially with having access to social media. Oh, you know what? That's a good idea.
Oh, God.
Or maybe, this is a new business idea. I'll try that. And then we end up spreading ourselves too thin, and then also end up never accomplishing the will and the plan that God put us here for. So sitting still with God around your gifts, your talents, your abilities, the things that he put in you that nobody else it might not even be anybody else doing it. Like, for example, and then I'll keep it short. When God called me to healing and deliverance, there was nobody, even the ministry that I went to with thousands of members, there was no one operating at that particular time on a regular basis in healing and deliverance, just maybe during conventions or maybe just during the healing conference. So I questioned if that's what really, God had for me to do over many years. But after sitting still with him, and then life situations and circumstances, him commanding me to move in that, I had no choice but to exercise and to begin to move in it. And so, yes, I did go to ministry school. Yes, I do have a ministry degree, but the gifting and the calling came from being in that quiet place with
Mhm.
God and the things that
Mhm.
He wants me to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pick up and heal it, Miss Christina. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss L
Amen.
all day.
That's good stuff. Whew. I got so much advice, but we said we can ready to wrap it up, so I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah,
But
you gotta just
I
get one or two.
all right. So I love what the other young lady said. First of all, just love yourself. We gotta learn to love ourselves. You know what I mean? And I had preached one Sunday, and what I preached about was you gotta trust that the God in you knows what to do, that you're doing the right thing, that God is going to give you what you need. He's going to show you how to do it. And then you got to trust in yourself to get it done. And a lot of us second guess ourselves so much that we don't get to be where we're supposed to be. And it's because of our own, we're harder on ourselves than anybody else.
Mhm.
Trust yourself, love yourself, and it'll all work out.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Love yourself, trust yourself, and trust
That's
the
right.
process.
Trust. God got you. He said, "I'll
Yeah.
never leave you or forsake you." Trust that. Know
That's
that.
right.
Well, they say you got to know that you know that you know.
Yeah.
I know, because I know what I know what I know.
That's right, girl.
See, that's the attitude. You can have it. It's okay
You
to
got
have
it.
it.
That's
Roll with
right.
that.
That's
I know
right.
what I know what I know.
What I know, and I know how I know what I know.
Yeah. A lot of
That's right.
women are what they're describing as returning to their femininity. They feel
Mhm.
like that they've had to be such
Manly.
strong women and that turn into manly or masculinity, and they
Mhm.
want to claim that back and find out what that is.
That's right.
And so I think that that's important, is that
That's a good one,
if we
Tangela.
have natural feminine abilities and natural feminine ways about ourselves, let's make sure that we honor that and that we seek that and allow that to resonate with grace and with
Yes.
purpose.
That's
My
right.
generation calls that
Amen.
soft girl era.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell
Okay.
you, I want to say mine real quick, because it
Yes,
goes along
ma'am.
a lot of it with what everybody said with loving yourself. I like to say embrace who you are. And when I say embrace who you are, I mean inside and out. I was one that grew up and everybody, oh, you got the pretty hair, and my hair was very long, and I used to try to keep it perm because if that any kind of moisture hit it, it does exactly what it's doing right now. And so, we grew up in an era where people permed our hairs or used flat irons and straightening combs and everything, so we can have long flowing hair. If we went to the Dominicans, we wanted it to have body and move with our head and all of that kind of stuff. And eventually my hair quit doing that.
It said bye-bye.
It said, I ain't doing that. I meant to curl up, and it did one of them fetal positions on me. So my hair, I went to the Dominicans, and 2 hours later, that nice little doobie wrap I had was an afro up under straight hair. And so I eventually said, let me embrace these curls that God has given me. These are my natural curls. There's no one else on this earth with this pattern. It can come close and it can look similar, but it's nobody else who has it. And so I did that, and I found a shape that I liked. And, thank God I have a husband who cuts hair that lives with me. He's able to keep my hair nice for me. And it's all natural. Even, I don't do a lot of makeup. With my body, I try to make sure I do indulge in some junk food here and there. I don't want to deprive myself of some of those things, because I do think that some of that is a gift, to have a cinnamon roll here and there or something, But eating right, exercise. Yes, it is a gift. Okay.
They have the cinnamon
Come
roll.
on,
Yes,
then.
dog.
Cinnabon.
You better get
Cinnabon,
you
yes.
a vegan cinnamon roll, girl.
It doesn't sound right.
I'm just kidding.
Vegan and cinnamon roll.
That
What is that made of?
that ain't
Carrots?
natural.
That's not
That ain't
natural.
natural.
That's right.
God made cinnamon and sugar. What y'all talking about?
Come on,
That's
then.
right.
Come
He tell
on,
us to
then.
eat pounds and pounds of it because it adds pounds and
In
pounds. So
moderation.
Right.
that's
Everything in
right.
moderation.
Absolutely. But embrace who you are. And I mean, with everything that you are. If you were born a woman, embrace that. Embrace, the ability to have children, ability to nurture a family, to give to a family. embrace your height. If you're tall, if you're in the grocery store and you see somebody that's shorter than you, can't reach something, I'll get that for you. I love reaching up.
Here.
Yeah, Miss L all day is my opposite. We look like twins when we stand next to each other, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Yeah, absolutely.
Danny DeVito or something. But it's adorable to me. But embrace that. Embrace the opportunities to, we talk about woman to woman. When I met Miss L all day, I was like, let's go to brunch. No reason. I just want to
Tiffany
go
just be out
hang
here
with
brunching because you and Christina went to brunch too.
No, me and Christina didn't go to brunch yet, but we got on the phone.
We going though.
3-hour conversations. We get on the phone and can't get off.
Y'all can't out brunch me and Miss Adria because we going too.
Okay.
Thank you.
We probably had brunch. We probably had brunch over while we was on the phone. Probably.
Yeah.
Brunch
No,
twice
we be on the
already,
phone.
girl,
We
and
night
got
owl.
another one coming. Maybe we
Got
all need
another
to
one
brunch
coming.
together.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
brunch
But
twice
brunch ain't
together
have-
now.
Yep, that's what's up. We're gonna have a ladies' brunch.
Yes.
There we
Okay.
go.
Absolutely.
I'll put it together, have some brunch together. But yes, embrace that. Embrace the opportunity sometimes to hang out with people that are different than you,
That's
that
right.
think differently than you, embrace life. That's my take on.
Okay, well, I got a little spoken word. I just
Come
a
on,
little
then.
something that I wrote. It doesn't have a title, but I think y'all will get it once y'all hear it.
You got to perform it now. Don't just say it.
I'm gonna try. I'm used to rapping,
Okay.
so might
Come on,
rap
snap the fingers, snap the fingers.
Okay.
That's right.
And I think, Tiffany, you might have heard this before, but still. It ain't just about rhyme. Since the beginning of time, you devalue our kind, but want us to be quiet and fine. You may not like us, but you gonna respect us. Now look at my God turning your hate into a blessing for me. Pushing through the struggle, we coming out strong. Speaking my mind, been quiet too long. Y'all don't know what it's really like for this womanhood. You can dress it up and still be misunderstood. We're bold, we're dangerous, lifestyles of the confident and courageous. The power of no, oh, it's contagious. And as far as our love, you can't outrage us.
All right.
Come on, then. Come on, then. Come on,
Yes.
then.
Oh, wait. Snap.
That's right.
Everything.
All right.
That's
good.
to our
Loving it.
women. To our
Okay,
women.
now.
Yes. All
Now
right.
you
so
got to
we got-
post that up there. Now you should have put that up there because I know somebody need to screenshot that.
I
That's
don't
right.
want nobody to steal my wordplay now. You
Oh,
know,
How they
it
gonna
ain't been
steal it?
published. No, I'm just
It's
kidding.
recorded.
We're
It's
gonna wait till you put
recorded.
it on music. We're gonna wait till you put it to
To put
music.
it on music.
That's
Yes.
Okay.
I
We
haven't
can do
found the
that.
right beat for it yet, but it's coming. It's
Okay.
coming.
I'll be your background singer.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
I got you on the lows.
There you go. There you go.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's
Okay.
get it.
Album
Okay.
number 3, Ladies in Full Effect. Okay.
Come on, then.
We've been waiting on y'all to sing with us Blackout Church anyway. So maybe one day, we'll get y'all together, mother-daughter duo. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So we have some book recommendations. The Emotionally Healthy Woman by Jerry Scazzaro. So Long Insecurity by Beth Moore. The Power of a Praying Woman. Y'all are probably familiar with that one, right? By Stormy O'Martian. She has a lot of them, like Power of a Praying Wife, Power of a Praying Mother. She has all of them. Woman Evolve by Sarah Jakes Roberts. She has the book and then some YouTube videos out there. We're also recommending Living Daily Fitness by Coach LJ. She does an amazing job. She's the one who has us wearing these Strong Her shirts of working with women when it comes to health and wellness.
There it is.
We want one.
Yes.
Okay.
We got
Don't
to
let
let
Coach
her know.
LJ know. We got some things coming up with Coach LJ too, some special and fun things. So she might bring some t-shirts and stuff,
If y'all are in the Riverdale area on Wednesdays, we do meet with her out in the park to work out. So if y'all want to join us, please feel free.
Early
it's
too
in the
now.
morning.
Early.
We ain't that early. It's 8:30 a.m. So
That's early.
That's
That's
early for the
true.
self-employed.
for the self-employed.
Right.
So
That's right.
Riverdale Regional Park, let us know, and we'd love to have you guys out there. So
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's a nice little workout.
We
So
have a
it
good time
rained
out
the
there too,
time we were
y'all.
out there this week, and we were still out there, and we weren't in the rain because it's a pavilion, so we were under the pavilion, but we let the rain still come down.
Nice.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Be at the
We had a
next
good time.
And then we have
brunch.
some, and
Next
then
one's
brunch
next
after we work
Wednesday.
out. Miss Christina said we're gonna eat after we work out.
Come on, Dan. Now that's what I'm talking about.
We going to Cinnabon.
We're gonna be
Go to
hungry.
Cinnabon after we
We're gonna be hungry after we
Just
work out.
canceled out.
Workout and then brunch.
Mhm.
We
Yo,
go
give me
right
a
to.
no,
We can do vegan. We can
cinnamon
have
roll.
slutty vegan. We can have slutty vegan
Okay.
right over there.
So we need to set up the, what is it? Not the appointment. I want to say appointment so bad. What is the word?
Reservation.
Reservation. There you go.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, and don't worry, I reference a vegan, but I'm not a vegan. I just
Me neither.
I do value
Me neither.
the quality of healthy eating, so I do want to stick as best I can with healthy eating.
Mhm.
And then we have some
Carrots.
resources. We have some resources on our website, irepresentlife.com, that can kind of help with this topic as well. We want to thank you, ladies.
I got
was
one
a
more book to
blast.
recommend.
Yeah, we want to
One more
thank
book to recommend.
Oh, Adrian said, oh, she got another book.
Seasonal
Oh.
Success.
Oh,
Yeah.
who is that
Yes.
by, Adrian? Look at that.
This is by the one and only Tangela Morris. Y'all go
Okay, now.
go get this.
Oh,
It's life
that's
changing.
life-changing books. I like that
All
illustration on
right
the front
now.
too. Who did that
Yes.
illustration?
Illustration, beautiful
Who's the
illustration.
illustrator?
LD. Who's LD?
LD, Tiffany's daughter.
The infamous Layla DeWalt, my daughter,
Yes.
who's
Phenomenally
she's
talented.
she's an aspiring musician over artistry, but she is
Got the
she's one of a
gifts.
kind. She got the gifts. I don't know nobody who can do music and art. That's interesting.
Adrian.
Adria, her
Adrian,
best.
you do me. You know what?
That's why they
do
bestie.
music and art. Okay.
Yeah, you
I'm
know
gonna have to give her
somebody.
phone number. She needs to y'all need to have each other phone numbers. She need
Yeah, I love
continuous
your daughter.
mentorship.
immediately.
Oh,
I
and I always thought you was
Tell her
just
to text
adorable
me.
too. I was like,
They
Okay.
already linked up. Yeah.
okay, you gave her your
love
number.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. I'm gonna make
Love
sure
it.
and I have her on these workshops. I usually have
Okay,
her
good.
chime in, so she'll be on here next week too.
Perfect.
So
We'll have to bring her to brunch too, Tiffany. Bring her with us.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Got to get her out and hanging out with you ladies. I mean, the
Absolutely.
village, man. She needs the village.
That's right.
Okay,
go-
we got to get out of here because we still got Miss L sitting in the car, and we want her to get home safely. yes, we want her to
No,
get home
Miss
safely.
Christina's in the car too, aren't you?
Yeah, I done had a whole
Oh, I'm
performance
sorry,
and
both of y'all
everything
in
in
the car.
back.
All right, come on then.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
good.
We want to
We
get
get
y'all
it
home
done.
safely.
We
Look
get it
at
done.
her. Y'all some
Yes.
Proverbs 31 women if I know them.
Okay,
There
come
you
on.
go. So we have a
Rubies.
virtual prize. So we have a question, and the first person that responds to the question in the chat will win the virtual prize. You can send your email in the chat if we acknowledge you as the winner. So we're watching the virtual chat to see who's the first person to respond. And so the question is, what is the best advice that you received from this workshop today? Miss L, don't you answer. I see you trying to answer. What is what is the best advice that you received from this workshop today? Let's hear it in the comment sections. And if you're not the first person, we still want to hear your answer because we want to be able to get your feedback, and we hope you got something out of it today that you can carry with you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, ladies, again. Thank you, Miss Adria, Miss Christina, Miss
This is
L.
thank you
all
in sign
day.
language, ladies.
Yes.
Thank you in sign language.
Miss Lady Tiki and Miss Justina over there at SummerHill as well. Thank you guys. We look forward to more. And you can contact us if you need to at irepresentlife.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. And we have an email too. We use our Ladies in Full Effect email account, which is ladiesinfulleffect205 at gmail.com. Miss Tiffany, any last words?
I love y'all, ladies. I love y'all. I love y'all. I know, we all met through different walks of life. We did, but this is our time. We have gone through, I know people have gone off to college, they got degrees, they got licenses, they got certifications. Like there's a group of women out here that is on their job with their callings and things. Cause I know what they say online. I know it's got a whole genre of women out there that they've been kind of blasting a lot lately. But the reason is they see them online. That's because we out here working and we out here doing what we got to do so that we can in return go and save those women. And
right.
so thank you ladies for being on your calling and receiving what God is giving you and being presented it to the world. I thank y'all. I love y'all. You're beautiful. And let's get it. Life on purpose. Or what's my saying, Tangie? Let's get this thing called life together.
Together. There we go.
That's
All right, you guys. I'm gonna pause the recording if you guys want to wave while we wrap on up.
We'll post our social media in the bio.
Yes.
Okay.